All right, let's dive right into a topic that feels like a tiny detail in a term sheet, but honestly has massive consequences for every founder out there. Pre-money versus post-money valuation. It sounds like simple jargon, but getting this right is one of the most powerful things you can do to protect your ownership. And no, that's not an exaggeration. We're talking about a single line in a fundraising document that literally decides how much of your company you get to keep after a deal is done. It shapes your cap table, your control, and, yeah, your ability to raise money down the road. So I've got to ask you, straight up, do you really know the difference? Because it's a question a lot of founders can't answer with 100% confidence until they're staring at their cap table after the round closes, and by then, it is way too late to do anything about it.
And look, this isn't just about not knowing the jargon. This is hands down one of the most common and expensive mistakes a founder can make. It's like a silent killer that can just slowly eat away at the equity you've worked so hard to build. This isn't some abstract finance class theory. We're talking about real-world dilution that gets permanently baked into your company's DNA. Once that term sheet is signed and that deal is done, the math is set in stone. Trying to unwind it is, well, it's pretty much impossible.
Okay, so let's get to the heart of it. What do these terms actually mean? We're going to break it all down so you can walk into any investor meeting with total clarity and confidence.
First up, pre-money. Think of this as the value of your company right now, at this very moment, based on everything you've built so far. So if an investor says they're investing at a $5 million pre-money valuation, what they're really saying is your business, as it stands today, is worth $5 million.
Now, post-money is the flip side. It's the total value of your company after the investor's check clears and their capital is in the bank. It includes their investment. So that $1 million investment on a $5 million pre-money valuation, that gives you a $6 million post-money valuation. It's a simple idea, but it's an absolutely crucial distinction.
So, here's where it gets really interesting in a negotiation. A pre-money deal is all about the value you've already created. A post-money deal, though, it sets a fixed, final number. You know why investors often prefer post-money? Because it guarantees them a very precise percentage of the company, which shifts more of the risk onto you, the founder.
Okay, now let's see how this actually plays out with real numbers, because this is where the theory stops being theory and gets very, very real. We're going to run the numbers on two deals that sound almost identical but have totally different outcomes.
So imagine this. An investor is ready to write you a check for $1 million. The only difference, literally the only different word on the two term sheets in front of you, is pre-money versus post-money.
And boom, right here you can see the huge difference. In the pre-money deal, your company's worth $5 million. And the new $1 million gets added on top of that. The total pie is now $6 million. But in the post-money deal, the total pie is fixed at $5 million, and that investor's million is already considered part of it.
So, in that pre-money scenario, the investor's $1 million buys them 16.7% of that new, larger $6 million company. It's just simple math, right? 1 divided by 6.
But in the post-money deal, that exact same $1 million is measured against a fixed $5 million total. And 1 divided by 5 is 20%. Just like that, you've given away a bigger chunk of your company. So, here it is, the big takeaway. For the exact same check size, the post-money structure costs you an extra 3.3% of your company. Now, that might not sound like a ton right now, but trust me, after a few funding rounds, those little percentage points add up to millions of dollars and a serious loss of control.
Now, this whole problem gets even more dangerous when founders are raising multiple small checks using a really common tool, the SAFE note, which stands for Simple Agreement for Future Equity. This is where a tiny misunderstanding can spiral into a massive, unexpected dilution problem later on.
Here's exactly how it happens. Each of these post-money safes basically operates in its own little bubble. The first investor is guaranteed 5% of the company. Then the second investor comes along, and their agreement also guarantees them 5%, but it doesn't account for the first investor. You do this a few times, and all of a sudden you've promised away a huge piece of your company before you even get to a real funding round.
And this is exactly what it looks like. You think you're just giving away these small, manageable slices, but because they're all based on that final post-money pie, they all stack up against your equity. It's like cutting the same pie 3 different times, and then being totally shocked when there's way less left for you than you thought.
And the consequences of this are pretty severe. When you go to raise your seed round, new investors are going to look at that messy cap table and see you've already promised away a ton of equity. That gives them leverage to push your valuation down. Or worse, they might just walk away because it looks like you don't have your house in order.
Okay, we've seen the problem, we've seen the trap, so let's talk about the solution. This isn't about being scared, it's about being prepared. So how do you avoid these pitfalls and actually fundraise smartly to protect what you're building?
You know what? The key is just to be intentional. Before you sign a single thing, model it out in a spreadsheet. Understand that pre-money terms usually create better alignment and, probably most importantly, build leverage. Get traction, build a prototype, file for IP before you start raising. That way, you're negotiating from a position of strength, not desperation. And ask smart questions. Show them you're already thinking 5 steps ahead.
This might be the single most important thing to remember. Asking tough questions about dilution and your cap table doesn't make you look difficult. It makes you look like a serious, professional CEO. The best investors want to back founders who know how to protect their ownership because it proves you're in it for the long haul.
So I'll just leave you with this one question. Fundraising is a huge part of the journey, for sure, but it should never come at the cost of your control. By understanding these key details, you're not just getting a better deal, you're making sure that you can keep building your company on your own terms.